So hello to everybody who actually watches this. This is my fourth attempt at starting my own podcast, but
I feel like you just talk to yourself.
I could almost, but then people would see me for the crazy person I am. Although I've been thinking
He's actually crazy.
I've been thinking about letting that out more because like all of the best like experience I had at work, I was a freaking maniac. Now I'm just like alone in a room, or I've been alone in an office
Being a maniac
for 3 years, and no, it just like your brain starts to eat itself. I was like entering like Castaway Wilson territory at one point.
Just buy a soccer ball.
Just buy a soccer ball
Or volleyball. I don't know. I've never actually seen
it. Was a volleyball.
Okay.
Yes.
So just buy a volleyball, put a face on it, stick it in the background somewhere.
Yes. So I am tentatively calling this the Fox and the Films podcast because branding.
Sure.
Sure, why not? And it makes
I'm ginger like a fox.
Yeah, it works. And it just it makes it sound like, like an old English pub, which is like
It does.
one of like my secret fantasies.
You better bring me fish and chips next time.
I will totally bring you fish and chips next time. One of my secret fantasies is to like own an old English pub.
I've watched Bar Rescue. Don't do it. You have no experience.
I know. That's why it was a now televised fantasy, but it's because I grew up watching. I was a bad insomniac when I was like between 12 and 14, and if you were like an insomniac and up all night and only had like not even basic cable but like antenna channels, one of them was YTV, and come 11:30 they started playing British sitcoms all night. That's where my love of British stuff comes from.
And I don't love British stuff.
No,
I like Mr. Bean. And I like Mr. Bean.
And Mr. Bean.
Yeah, I don't even like The Office.
Do you?
I don't like Monty Python. No.
But do you like Johnny English by extension?
No.
Oh, okay. So
although it's been years since I've seen it. So
okay,
really.
so it's not even being a Rowan Atkinson.
I do like Rowan Atkinson. He was good in Scooby-Doo.
Okay.
For the 10 minutes he was in it.
Yes.
He was good in Rat Race.
Oh, he was.
So
he did have the most quotable lines in that movie.
It's an ace.
It's an ace.
Baby.
Yeah. I feel like that kind of character work wouldn't be allowed anymore.
No. It's offensive to somebody, but I mean, don't get me on that.
Right. But anyway, so I guess official introductions. I am your host, Josh of Josh T Films. That's where all that stuff's going to be hosted, and it's kind of
go to his page. I don't care.
Go to his page. But I had to have Rob as my first guest. This is Mr. Rob Deak, fantastic photographer, local confidant, and very, very sassy man.
Yes. And opinionated.
This is why you're like the best to have on a podcast. And we're about to talk about one of the most like vitriolic, opinionated fandoms of all time. And one of the three things that we have in common, and therefore can talk about at length.
May the force be with you.
May the force be with you. Our three things we have in common. Nice. Our three things that we have in common.
The video, somebody's going to be offended. The audio, they have no idea.
Oh, that's why you got to watch the video. Gotta watch the video for this. Our three things that we have in common. Well, it's two and then an extension. But one is photography, and therefore, by extension, models we think are pretty.
I like pretty.
Right? Appreciating pretty things isn't a crime, I don't think.
No?
I think it's okay. As long as you're not a creep about it. There's a way to go about it.
Appreciating them and stalking them are not the same.
Right. And the other is Star Wars. Like this is like a weird thing.
And most movies in general, but
we said you're probably going to be my regular because we can totally wax philosophical about movies at least. But yeah, so we had to start on Star Wars because it is one of our things. We have had hours-long Star Wars discussions, and we've realized, we are that level of nerd about this.
I'm pretty close. I'm not all the way there. Like, I don't know things that aren't really canon.
Yeah, I've never read books.
Not deep canon. Like, I know Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yeah, and I know, like, a bit of KOTOR and all the stuff that was in the online game.
See, there you go.
And, stuff like that.
I definitely know everything since Disney's taken over.
Definitely, yep.
Even if I don't agree with it.
Right. We can get into that, absolutely. So yeah, what we were talking about today was we're going to be talking about the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. It was
Hello there.
a lot. I think okay.
A lot, but not enough.
Thank you. It's a lot, but not really. So we'll put up the wall here and say on this podcast anything is spoiler fest. Straight up.
Yeah.
Straight up. And it's probably gonna be explicit language because when we get fiery, we get sweary. So I ain't gonna even try.
Fiery like Mustafar.
See, we're in deep. But yeah, so
or Sullust, depending on what part of your universe you're in.
is this like
There's a deep cut?
I think this is. It's also like, what's the difference between Jakku and Tatooine? Nothing.
No.
It's a desert.
No.
With a bunch of scrap in it.
They filmed in the same desert, so why can't we talk about like the same desert?
It's all just Tunisia. Or it's did they do the panoramic screen stage for any of the movies, or was that Mandalorian on?
I think it was Mandalorian.
Okay. So yes, everything's filmed in Tunisia. Yeah. I feel kind of bad for Tunisia in the same way I feel bad for New Zealand in that they're sort of only known as being a filming location for one franchise. Although New Zealand leans into it hard based on what some friends have told me.
Yeah, tourism.
Yeah, like they're putting it like on official currency. I'm like, okay, Peter Jackson stops making movies. You guys are screwed.
Right.
You put too much in this. And I'm wondering, like, did Amazon even go there, or since they took over? Like,
I don't know.
Right?
Technology's crazy now. So.
Yeah. But so yeah, let's get into talking Obi-Wan. But before we do that, I figured let's talk our personal Star Wars origins. Like,
so I'm clearly not old enough to have watched it the first time.
Right.
However, I am old enough to have watched it in the theater when special edition came out. However, I did have the VHSs of the originals.
Me too.
So I've seen both.
Yes.
And Han shot first.
He did. He absolutely did.
Just so we're all on the same page. And this weird head shift thing he does now.
Yeah.
Not into it.
And I'm sure somebody has done it by now, but like that head shift just makes me think of Hadaway. It looks like he's, what is love?
If you haven't done it, we should.
Like if there isn't like that hasn't been memeified, that's the shot.
Right.
So yeah, me too. I was definitely I had it on VHS. It was a jumbo video rental when I finally I had a friend who was a Star Wars nerd, and to have something to talk about with him, like, okay, I'll finally give this a try. And I believe I rented original editions, and then when I got my own copy, they were those remastered ones that everybody hates with the first digital creatures superimposed into the old film with the weird singing alien and the Wampa actually having a full body.
Right.
Those ones.
I know CinemaSins talked about it. They mentioned when you get to the Mos Eisley part, you got some Phantom Menace in My New Hope.
Ew, there's Phantom Menace in this.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, that's so great.
Part of it looks okay.
Yeah. But throwing it back, it's an extended song of an alien who's not even a humanoid looking alien, kind of it looks like a mascot from Concerned Children's advertisers spots. That's what it looks like. That is priceless and definitely got used in some funny ways by my anime friends.
I don't want to know.
It's exactly what you're thinking. But yeah, so I was definitely the VHSs of the originals, and then as the prequels came out, I definitely was, because I was a kid, I was the right audience for it.
Yes,
those movies were made for kids.
I look fondly at the prequel trilogy.
Yes,
and I shouldn't, but
it was.
I don't like Jar Jar though.
No, he was.
Everything else is fine.
Yeah, it's I get the feeling they were his redeeming thing is he's supposed to be drunken master, and that he stumbles into doing badass things, but it was not executed in the way that made it look that way. He literally just looks like an idiot.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of on board with people. I don't have make those movies suck entirely because of that character, because they minimized him.
Yes,
significantly.
They did.
They knew it wasn't a character you wanted to rely on. But that's
it's not like they made Anakin that.
Right. Although I personally, not to name drop other people already, but Patton Oswalt had the best idea for this. He has a bit about going back in time and killing George Lucas, but he said like they should have made Anakin like a Damien Omen child, like a really like evil child, so that Darth Vader made sense.
Yeah.
Instead of doing the long drawn out the fall, right. Just have it always be that he was evil at the core.
Like, well, the deleted scene where he beats up Greedo.
Yes.
Explains both of them.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. But, and then how did you feel about the new trilogy?
Yeah. I'm older now.
Yeah.
So if I was younger, I think I'd be okay with it. But I feel like they didn't try hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, Disney did well at it. The movies look good. But the stories, I just couldn't, like... I wasn't invested in the characters. Like, I feel like Finn was forced down my throat.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact he was a stormtrooper and turned.
Yes.
Maybe this isn't a good thing, but they like by the end of it, I wasn't impressed with Poe.
Yeah, well, other people have said it better, but I just agree with it. Like, why did you just make him into a Han Solo clone?
Right.
It was cool that he was a pilot.
Yeah.
Like, why did he have to be like, oh, his dark past is that
he could have been like Maverick from Top Gun and
just
been cool.
Yes. Like, why couldn't that be it?
Right.
Yeah. No, that one has like it has a real like parabolic arc.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, in Force Awakens, Last Jedi, yeah, and then
and with all due respect, why did they talk about fuel? You don't have enough fuel to make jump light space.
Right.
Light speed.
Yes.
Pardon me?
And see, that's...
The freaking Millennium Falcon was literally dying.
Uh-huh.
But we got it. We're good.
Yeah. And this is the thing I was definitely thinking about earlier. You have to understand that technology is only important in Star Wars when they need a problem.
Right.
And this is why, there's the whole, Star Trek, Star Wars thing, right? And I gravitate towards Star Wars for the reason that it's magic. I'm a fantasy guy.
Yeah.
And Star Wars is just space fantasy.
Right.
Right?
See, like the Enterprise in Star Trek running out of gas, I see that.
Yeah.
It's more realistic.
Yes. But it's just like, and they like have brought up fuel a couple times before, but it's literally only, technology is only brought up to be a problem.
Yeah.
Or to facilitate like something they don't want to have to work too hard at.
Right.
Like the fact in the first one in Phantom Menace, they just happen to carry breathers so that there's no like slow down to going to the underground, the underwater city.
Right.
So it's just like, oh, there's technology.
So those breathers in particular reminded me of Batman and Robin, where all of a sudden they have skates on their boots and you didn't know you were going to see Mr. Freeze. Why are they there? It's not winter in Gotham. Anyway,
yes,
that's a rant for another day.
Yes, so obviously we have our relationship with the franchise, and like, despite the fact that this sounds like we're picking it apart, we both actually do love it quite a bit.
Yes,
right. Like,
if we didn't love it, we wouldn't care.
Yes,
and if we didn't care,
we
wouldn't care.
Yeah.
You know.
It's like, I freaking love my space samurai wizard. Yes, I do.
Right.
But so because I wanted this podcast to be more about recent stuff, or at least semi-topical, we're talking about the newest thing, which was Obi-Wan Kenobi. I felt like there was a long build up to this one. Like, we'd known about this for a long time, and then
it's the most hyped thing Disney Plus has ever had.
Right. And
including Boba
Fett, yeah. But see, like, I think with Boba Fett, obviously they had planned Boba Fett, but I don't think they planned for the Mandalorian to be as big as it was.
No.
So, like, I think
they had to save Boba Fett with Mandalorian.
Thank you. I said that too. Book of Boba Fett is Mandalorian season 2.5.
Right. Exactly. It's the in between. Yeah.
We're
losing them. Give them Baby Yoda.
Yeah. Get Mando back. Everybody likes Mando. It's true. I like Mando. But yeah, so much hype, so much. And we knew it was going to be a mini series. So they know it was going to be here and over quick, which I think is a current formula that's worked and is probably not going away anytime soon. Like, you ever notice the rare time you're watching TV, how like into limited series they are now?
Yes. I was not ready for 6 episodes. I was expecting at least 10.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I think 6 episodes was right based on certain parts. We're like, wow, you got nothing.
Too long to be a movie, too short to be a series.
Yeah. Also, at the same time, at its core, you didn't need to make this show. It didn't give you anything new.
No.
And you know that going in, though, if you've been in Star Wars for a while, right? You know the timeline.
Right.
They're saying it's at this point. I'm like, okay.
You know what happens before, and you know what happens after.
Right. So this show sort of immediately has no consequences.
It's like, realistically, it's like when I watched Rogue One, and it was like, I'm not investing in any of you people.
Oh, you...
Because I know you're not here the next one.
You are all so dead.
Right.
I knew, yeah, you know that going in. Like, oh, they got to steal the Death Star plans. Oh, they're dying in the end of this.
Right.
Why? Because we know that.
Even the guy that handed off the plans to Princess Leia died.
Yes. Died, like they burst open the doors
Right.
and they were get shot. Yeah. Like that is at its core, like the first problem.
Right.
Right. But at the same time, we're watching it. That's Star Wars fans.
Yep.
We're either gonna watch it because we want to pick it apart.
We might sit there with a scowl on our face, but we're watching.
We all became comic book guy. It is hilarious, actually. Like, at least have the clairvoyance to like, oh, worst miniseries ever. I will only watch it 4 more times today. That is Star Wars fans. Like, once again, Simpsons nailing it.
Yeah.
Right. But so I think I'll, as the person, as a a cinematographer, I guess I should talk about how the things looked, and my takeaway from it is, well, it looks right. And what I mean by that is, especially since Disney took over, they've established the Star Wars look, and they're the company of interconnected, franchises. So
yeah, just go ask Marvel.
Right, like every
movie leads into the next one, in some way.
I said, at least in Marvel, there are certain variations based on kind of what the particular hero they're talking about is. I was personally very happy with Shang-Chi because of how fantasy it was.
Yeah. How
beautiful. And I found out that a person who I follow was the action director on it. Like, I freaking knew it, that this one panning shot in like the flashback fight, I'm like, that's a Chris Cowan shot. And it freaking was. I was like, yes, I knew it. I'm that guy who recognizes a person's camera work.
You can see that with Scorsese too.
Yes.
The long follow.
Yeah, the long tracking shot. Yeah. Or like Sorkin with walk and talks.
Yeah.
Right? That's his thing. Like West Wing, American President, all Newsroom. They all do the fast walk and talk tracking shots, right? And yeah, I mean, like, they have established the Star Wars look, and Kenobi does not deviate in the slightest.
No, it looks exactly like the rest of them.
Yes, which is obviously intentional. But personally, I'm just like, I think it's okay to give each show its own flavor a little.
I was going to say Kenobi was darker than I expected it to be.
It definitely was
in lighting.
Yes.
Terms.
No, yes. Not thematic. Although they're very careful with Darth Vader now. Like, yeah, make him evil. You're showing him in that suit, he's doing evil stuff.
Right.
And he did hella evil stuff in this.
Yep.
This was like, I feel like there is still an apology happening for no. Like the bits in Rogue One and in this are all apologies for that.
Yeah.
It's just like, there's a part in this where Vader is literally killing random spectators who aren't even trying to confront him. He's just walking by and force choking people.
Right.
I feel that is all just it's the long apology.
We're just gonna make him badass.
Yes. and downright evil.
Yes.
Like, and I said since that's what they were going for, I did feel like, okay, good job at making us forget that he repents in the last second.
Right.
Although that, again, one of my favorite jokes, repents at the last second, gets into Jedi heaven.
Yeah, it makes me think about that though, when he saves Luke. You're like,
not enough.
Right? Like if Leia was dying, I feel like it would be a different reaction. Like he would have still saved her.
Yeah.
But he would have been like, he would have saved her much sooner.
I don't play favorites.
Like he wouldn't like, I feel like because she's feminine.
Yes.
And has a prior relationship with Leia leading into this. Because, like, I mean, he knew Princess Leia when they kidnapped her in A New Hope.
Right.
Like, he knew who that was.
Right.
Which, you know, don't even get me started on Kenobi now, because that backtracks to he knows who Princess Leia is. So at what point does he know who Princess Leia is?
Right.
Like, he would know Bail Organa.
Yes.
He would know he didn't have children, and now all of a sudden he has a child. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Like Vader would know.
Right. Yes.
Right.
So Anakin would know who Bail Organa was. And
also, isn't there supposed to be like a sixth sense with like
a Force user should be able to tell a Force
right,
user? Yeah.
Right. Like
that is how they found Jedi.
Yes. And it's like
midi-chlorians aside, of course.
anytime that's
you're just gonna blood test everybody you meet in the universe,
which they are like a fascist empire. That would be like their move.
No point. No comment. Who is the good side? I'm just saying.
What, between rebels and empire?
No, Jedi and Sith. Who's the bad guys? Really strict ass religion. Do what you want.
Which is why I totally like support the Luke mentality in The Last Jedi. He like brings that up. Like right. This was an order who at the height of their power allowed one Sith to destroy everything.
Exactly.
Like he makes that comment on their hubris. That's why I was way into The Last Jedi. But yeah, there's so much weirdness going on in the show that like makes us think like, okay, so they're saying that, and then the thing that drove me a little crazy with this, okay, she's a kid and they go through this adventure together and like she knows this guy, but she's like 10. You remember stuff from when you're 10.
I do remember stuff from when I was 10.
Right? Like this isn't being 3 and like you're not completely online yet. Like she's going to remember this guy.
Yeah.
And did they do enough to connect it to the first one? To A New Hope? She says like, General Kenobi, like years ago you served my father in the Clone Wars. Shouldn't that speech have been like, hey, remember me?
Yeah, right.
Like,
hey, we did that thing once. You saved my life.
We need you to do that again.
Yeah.
We're sort of having this discussion of like,
I'm currently being chased by Darth Vader. Help.
But we also figured out, well, clearly she does know him because they're over Tatooine.
Yeah.
Right? But it's just a little too like, you're hoping that, and we're only talking about like what? How old is Luke supposed to be in A New Hope? 20 at most?
19, I think.
So we're talking like a gap
years.
of 9 years.
Right.
Like, I don't think this would have faded.
Right.
That'd be pretty fresh memories.
And like, I think they did Luke well because he meets him for like a minute. Hey, it's that old guy, and then obviously Ben doesn't like him. That's very evident. And then at the very end, you're like, hey, you want to meet him?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't lead up to Ben and Beru be like, I don't know about that crazy old man. You probably shouldn't go talk to him.
Well, and then again, that one worked because like the only thing we ever got out of Luke is, hey, I wonder if we met old Ben Kenobi, that old guy I met once.
Yeah.
That made sense.
Right.
Leia's going to be way more like that guy who I had crazy adventures with.
Right.
You know? And also like My biggest thing here is with certain characters, like having ignorance of the Force when they've now had encounters with it.
Right.
Like, oh, stuff floating. That's weird. Dude, you've seen it before.
Yeah. That's not how the Force works.
You've been using that a lot. You always use it well. That is now your new thing for like you don't actually know, so you just say that's
right.
how the Force works. Please don't stop doing that. I enjoy it very much. But okay, so we've kind of harped on what we don't like, but there was a lot I did like. Personally, I think I'm loving what I'm calling the Filonification of the Star Wars universe, which is basically bringing in all of Dave Filoni's canon, like all the stuff from like Clone Wars and Rebels, which I haven't watched a ton of, just kind of choice episodes to sort of understand the feel. But like,
I tried watching the movie.
Yeah, apparently the show is like, if you can commit to it, it gets better.
Oh, maybe one.
But it's a serious commitment. It's like 7 seasons.
I honestly don't like watching cartoons.
Yeah,
that's like I've gotten that from you.
I've gotten that from you. Like, I couldn't sell you on the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars either.
Like, when I was a kid, I liked South Park and I liked The Simpsons, and now I'm just like, okay, Homer, shut up.
Yeah.
And like, okay, so I watched the 3 Family Guy Star Wars things also, but mostly because they were Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I enjoy Family Guy, but I won't watch Family Guy. Like,
okay. So do you think like the animation aesthetic just doesn't please you and it turns you off?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Like, I don't. Right. I like the jokes. I like Seth MacFarlane, and I like everybody else in the show. But I just can't watch a cartoon. It's weird for me.
Interesting. So not even, and you conflate like a CGI as cartoon to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is probably why I don't like Avengers.
Too much CG?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I feel like I'm not watching, like, you're clearly standing on a green screen set. Like,
really?
You know what I mean? Yeah, I can't do
you have that little suspension of disbelief?
Yeah, I just don't like it.
Interesting. So, like, did you really like Winter Soldier then? Because of how grounded it is? No?
I don't like any of them.
Really?
Honestly, I like Spider-Man.
Uh-huh. And
I like Batman.
Uh-huh.
End of discussion.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's I don't know. Batman's not Marvel. Don't at me.
Yeah.
But
no, I get it. I said this again, going back to the wow. We really only have those 3 things in common. But we make it work.
I enjoy things like X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the X-Men movies back when I watched them.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much the new ones.
No.
I think it's the CG, if I'm being honest. Like, I've not always been like this, clearly. But Jurassic Park, I just watched the new Jurassic Park movie, and I didn't like the CG in that either. Because you watch the first Jurassic Park, you're like, okay, maybe this is maybe possible, and then you're then you watch the new one, you're like, okay, you've gone too far.
And that's funny to think, because that was like, that guy was literally like writing that program when that movie was happening. Yeah. Interesting.
Anyway, back to Star Wars.
Back to Kenobi, yes. So you're saying I've been enjoying the Filonification, as I've been saying, and bringing in all of Dave Filoni's like extended lore, because it gives you a lot more to work with. Mm-hmm. It's one of those cases where I feel like it's the same way I feel about J.K. Rowling, in that she's made a good base world, but is doing a terrible job with it. And I feel like George Lucas made a great base world, and other people have done better with it.
Okay.
You know, I feel like Dave Filoni has really, like, you know, everything he's done. You know, to this day, I can't believe Jon Favreau is the one who created Mandalorian, but they have the rotating set of directors, including Dave Filoni, and like his stuff just consistently being made canon with bringing in, you know, Ahsoka Tano, and the whole Mandalorian lore is all from Dave Filoni.
Right.
And I'm sure it's from novels, but for us, you know, viewers,
I was
or whatever.
Gonna say, they never called Boba Fett a Mandalorian.
No.
They didn't talk about it at all.
Nope.
He was Boba Fett. That was it.
He was a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
All they've done is tie like Mandalorians to bounty hunters.
Right.
But yeah, no, that's Filoni and crew. And to get to there, what I'm saying that I enjoyed that they brought into this one was the Inquisitors.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I learned about the Inquisitors through the video game.
We're both huge fans of Fallen Order.
I wouldn't have known anything about it otherwise.
Yeah. I had seen clips from like Rebels and stuff, but Yeah, no, being introduced to them really in the game.
I like the concept of them.
And
I like that not every Jedi was killed. And some of them were like, maybe we should, can't beat them, join them.
yeah, exactly. And that's what most of the Inquisitors are. And also the whole, like, if you're going to obey the rules of your own lore, like, it's not that the Jedi die and therefore nobody can use the Force anymore, which is kind of what they established. It's kind of what the original feeling was.
Right.
Like, only these guys can do this.
Right.
They didn't establish.
Well, yeah,
that
Obi-Wan and Yoda are the only ones that are left, and you're like, okay, well,
you obviously have to be
one of you needs to have children.
Yeah, yeah. And then it was, in the prequels that they established, like, no, this just happens.
Yeah.
And if that's the rules, well, yeah, Force users aren't going away.
Well, and there's that guy in Rogue One.
Yes.
Who isn't even a Jedi.
Donnie Yen's character.
Sure.
Yeah.
But he's clearly one with the Force.
And the Force is one with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're, again, I went into some deep dive, like, kind of videos just for fun. They're like an acolyte order who aren't Jedi, but are affiliated.
Okay.
They're like called the Order of the Force or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So they're like regular people who like live like Jedi.
Right.
Just don't have the power. So it's like, oh, so like all of the sacrifice, none of the reward.
Sounds like Christianity.
Ooh.
That'd be nice.
He's got a history that like informs his opinions. He's not just saying stuff. That can be bonus pod. We won't get into it. If we ever do a movie about religion, we'll let you go nuts.
I just watched Religulous.
Yes.
With Bill Maher. I loved it.
Yeah.
So good.
I had a feeling you would.
Anyway,
yes.
Next.
So is there anything like that you really did enjoy from the show?
I liked, so based on my information from Jedi Fallen Order about the Inquisitors, I liked learning more about them. And I liked, the only part I didn't like, I'll be honest, is it made me question the Sith rule of 2.
Yes.
Because they're good, but they're bad. Like,
yeah. And the workaround on that, from what I understand, is purely semantic. Just by not giving them the title, they've gone around that rule.
Oh, God, that makes sense.
They're not Sith, they're Inquisitors. They're Imperial Inquisitors. And again, they're also like, there's some Rogue One going on with them because he's like, hey, why did we ever see these guys in the movies? Because Vader kills them all when he's done with them.
Right. He doesn't need them anymore. They're all dead.
And again, that's the whole Sith. It could be the Sith rule of 2.
Right.
What if they become powerful enough to kill him?
Right.
So he nips it in the bud.
Yeah. Well, I mean, third sister almost got him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she was close.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she needs to learn how to sneak better, but whatever.
Yeah. And
but yeah, as for the Inquisitors, I liked learning about them, like I said,
mm-hmm.
and I liked that they're like badass and they're bad, and you can tell they're bad because they fight with each other.
Yes. Yeah.
They're like, we don't like. Obviously, there's a boss.
Yeah.
But they're like, screw you.
Yeah. I'm gonna do my thing.
Right. And they're all like that.
Yes.
And that makes it cool because there's like infighting.
Yeah. Which is one of the things that slightly annoys me about the Star Wars mythos, particularly in the movies, is that why can't the dark side be nuanced? It's just, if you fall into the dark side, you're evil, period.
Right.
Like, I think the games have done a better job with this, like explaining like that the Sith emerged as a counter to the Jedi because they found the Jedi stuffy and oppressive. Right. Like,
when you think of like Palpatine doing the whole I can bring people back from the dead thing,
mm-hmm.
From episode 3, not Rise of Skywalker, just so we're all on the same page.
Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith.
And
yes.
then Anakin's like, wait, what? Why are they holding this information from me? You know? Yeah. And I can see why Anakin turned, because he's like, there's something they're not telling me, and that's not okay.
Yeah.
You know?
And like I said, I will say, like, they have throughout that trilogy, like, except for, that if that deleted scene had been left in, even better. But like they show like in episode 2 that he doesn't like following orders, that he's like, he's quick to anger. It was the bit where he killed all the Tuskens. Like, he's obviously got this darkness in him. It wasn't created it was nurtured.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
And I think that's like a cool narrative arc.
And he also doesn't like sand.
doesn't like sand.
I don't blame him. It gets everywhere.
Yeah.
But whatever.
And yet your beat shoots are so good.
Yeah, well. Don't open my camera bag. Yeah. By the end of the summer, that's what happens.
But yeah. So we think that that's pretty much the major takeaway from this series is like the Inquisitors were cool.
Yeah, they were. I liked Leia's sass.
Yes.
I'm
precocious.
She had it a little bit. There was hints of it in the new, like in the future.
Yeah.
But I don't think she has the same sass. I feel like the little girl did way better as Leia.
Yes.
Than Carrie Fisher did.
But and that's fun. That's fun. But I also think the ending shows the Leia she'd become. When she's standing there with her father, wearing a blaster holster, but also ready to be Miss Diplomat.
It was
like,
pretty cute. That
was so adorable, right? That was the moment where I reconsider having children.
It's empty right now.
That's the moment where you think maybe I should procreate. But it's like for the most selfish reason, so that I can have an adorable kid to cosplay with me.
Right.
So no.
To give them a gun holster.
Yes. Yeah.
We're in Canada, by the way. It's not that easy.
No. We actually have gun control.
No comment.
Although it still could be better, in my opinion.
We're not going to talk about that. That's too political.
Like, you should need a permit for a blaster.
Right.
They're just everywhere in Star Wars.
No kidding.
It's true. It is true.
See, it made sense that Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen had one because they're farmers. Have you ever met a redneck?
Yeah. And also, again, like Tatooine, like you are prone to raids.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah. The Inquisitors, good times.
Yeah. What else did I like? I liked that they had the Underground Railroad thing.
That was cool.
I did like that. That was pretty cool.
But
because because I think about Order 66.
Yes.
And you're like, there's no way they got all of them.
No. Especially like if I feel like it's almost like the ones who died are the ones who should have, because dude, you're supposed to have a sixth sense.
Yeah.
Like Yoda figured it out instantly.
Right.
Like, wow, you guys aren't good Jedi.
Right.
You went down that easy.
You died. You probably deserve it.
Like, you are not good at your job if that's how you went down.
Well, at least the ones on the council
should
have caught on.
Yes.
I mean, Mace Windu not included. But the one with the cone head, I don't know his name. Nobody cares either.
They all have names, but they're never said aloud. Like, it's the whole thing with like...
He shouldn't have died, though.
No.
Because he's sitting on the council. He's like a master.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah. Do
your job.
Yeah.
Damn.
But yeah, so yeah, the whole like, and again, this is what extended lore has shown that like, yeah, again, people who weren't George Lucas had the gumption to go, yeah, a lot more would have gotten away.
Right.
And that's why like you can have all these extended series with like people who were Jedi who got away, and like how it worked in Fallen Order, I think was great. Like, don't you think like some masters would have self-sacrificed to save their students?
Yeah.
Like there should have been tons of that. And I said we'll talk about Fallen Order for days because it's so good. Mm-hmm. It's one of the best executed Star Wars stories. In addition to being just a fun action game.
Yes.
That like made like the mechanics work so well.
I remember playing that game with no thought of ever coming near Darth Vader.
Yes.
And then I'm getting close to the end of the game, and I don't really know what's the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And all you hear is the. I was like, I'm not winning this fight. I'm like, I know how this game ends.
Yeah. Oh, we gotta run.
I honestly, genuinely felt fear.
Yes.
Going, oh God.
Yeah, those are the best moments in a video game. Right. I'm like, I just barely beat that guy, and now this dude's here.
Yeah. As soon as I heard that breathing, I knew it was over.
It's like, oh, either this is how the game ends. Like, oh, we just died.
And that's how you know they do Darth Vader right.
Yes.
Because you're like, I'm not going to win because that's Darth Vader.
Yep.
And I could just imagine everybody that goes up against him is the exact same fear.
Yes. Yes.
Except maybe Obi-Wan, because
right. And
old man Alec Guinness was like, I got you.
but
do you?
Yeah. so that reminds me of another thing I wanted to talk about is how do we feel about what is essentially what I call the broken Jedi trope that is now like a common plot device in Star Wars stuff, which is so basically after the fall of the Order, they become damaged and severed from the Force and have to work their way back, and that's the arc. That was the entire thing of Fallen Order, and that was basically what happened in Obi-Wan. Did we like that or feel it was lazy?
I did like that it added depth to Obi-Wan's character.
Yes.
But I also know enough to think, okay, why didn't Yoda have it?
Right.
Because like Luke goes to visit Yoda and Yoda's like on his game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What? I mean, Yoda's kind of the end all be all when it comes to Jedi. So maybe he's like elevated past.
And supposedly, according to lore, his race is incorruptible, like by nature.
But you'd think. Well, I mean, the same thing happened to Luke, I guess, sort of, because I mean, Luke teleported, and, had a sword fight as a ghost. But whatever.
So as I was saying, like this whole like Jedi has trauma, becomes severed, gets his groove back.
I like that. I feel like it was too quick.
Yeah.
For Obi-Wan to be out of practice.
Yes.
By the time this story started, I feel like by the time he met Luke in A New Hope, okay, maybe. Yeah. You're much older now. Your ties have been severed. It's been 20 years.
And again, talking about like that whole like there's only a 9-year gap. Holy crap, did they age in 9 years?
Like I understand.
I guess you're under 2 sons, but
I understand you live in a cave, but that whole time you were trying to connect with Qui-Gon. So you're still focusing on the Force. Mm-hmm. But by the time A New Hope started, you stopped because the story was like, okay, well, I'm going to go live in a cave now. And as of now, nothing has happened between the end of Kenobi and A New Hope in Obi-Wan's life.
Right.
He went back to being a fish herder, or whatever he was. In the beginning of the story.
Where he's like working on the assembly line, like the meat processing plant.
Right.
Which like, again, was a weird like red herring of like, okay, you see him like stealing meat and like looking all shady, like, oh, he's going to get caught and that's going to trigger. No, he just stole a bunch of meat.
Right.
Okay. But yeah, but it said this whole like he's severed and like doesn't have his full powers, all to just lead up to a moment where he gets it back and has a badass moment.
Right.
Where he like is straight up wizarding a bunch of the rocks.
Right.
Like he's not even motioning, his hands are up.
Yeah.
It was very classic D&D.
Yeah, I feel like there was no growth back to the I don't know how the Force works. So I can't really speak too much on it, but I feel like you would need to like meditate a lot and do all these things and not just like go like this story had Obi-Wan do. Mm-hmm. Like it was a nonstop between Leia got captured to Leia's home again. There wasn't a moment where Obi-Wan was like, okay, give me a minute. I need to like find myself.
Yeah.
And you'd think being distracted would prevent him from reconnecting with the Force, other than the odd time he was like trying to like, strain himself to move a rock or whatever it was, right? Mm-hmm. And then Darth just going just like looking at the rock and it just flies on him. Like
you're saying before we started rolling how much you loved that like he was just being like so mean in that first fight.
Right.
Like just holding him down in fire.
Like, yeah. And then he was in that fire for a long time and he had this little tiny scar on his arm.
Yeah.
Like, what? You should have lost all of your hair, old man.
Going back to that whole like technology when it's convenient.
Right.
Like, back to tanks. That's our thing. That'll fix everything.
Yeah, it was pretty badass when he just took his lightsaber and poked the ground with it and all the fire came
Oh,
out.
that
was
so
probably
good.
one of the my favorite scenes for sure.
It was like all of the badass moments were like Obi-Wan's like, hey, I'm throwing a bunch of rocks and winning thing. Not nearly as good as Vader pulls a ship out of the air.
Right? Right? Just and it's his.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
Like, it's because Vader don't run. Always cool guy walk, right?
Yeah.
So cool guy walk, brisk but still cool guy walk up to a ship that's getting away. And what does he just do?
Yeah.
Grabs it.
Right.
Pulls it down, and then cleverly it was a decoy and they get away in the ship that was hidden behind. But like, come on.
I feel really bad for the guy who was flying the decoy.
And this is, yeah, right?
He got messed up.
Oh, yeah. But here's the thing where I'm just like, oh, is it third sister? You're kind of an idiot. Did you just not watch him pull a spaceship out of the air?
Right. And
now you're going to try and throw hands with him?
Yet no effort, pull a spaceship out of the air.
Yeah. Right? It was one of my favorite memes of recent times is, if you ever feel stupid, don't forget that Ash tried to throw hands with Mewtwo.
Yeah. There you go.
It was that moment.
That's true.
Right? She's essentially trying to punch out a guy who can kill her with his mind.
Right?
And
his, when they fought, there was no effort on his part.
No.
He was just leaning and she was missing him.
Yeah. And that is another thing that I have enjoyed about recent things. Like, okay, we obviously his lightsaber fights were not that exciting in A New Hope.
No,
because they were figuring they were figuring stuff out, right? And it was decent,
and there were extension cords.
It's true, but it was pretty good by Return of the Jedi.
Yes,
I thought they were decent.
Luke and Vader had a pretty good fight.
It was a good fight, right? And they were definitely going for that style of fight versus the swirly, way unnecessary movements
Yoda
of the
doing
prequel.
A corkscrew.
Yeah, right. And I think they've really driven that home in Vader's fighting style.
Yes,
he never puts two hands on the sword.
No,
always just kind of big. It's a lot of power deflections.
Yeah.
I
think Vader double-handed once, and that's when Luke got him in the arm.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah. But I said, I've really enjoyed that as a choreography note.
Yeah.
And whoever is stunt, being the stunt actor for those actual fights is he definitely did his homework.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic job of that's how he fights. It's minimal effort.
Well, if he's not going to run, why would you expect him to yeah?
Yeah. It's very minimal effort, high power still.
Yeah.
Not a lot of movement.
Right.
And I found they even Obi-Wan's fighting was toned down. Well, they're saying he's rusty, but even when he's got his groove back, it's not crazy,
right?
Jumpy, flippy, defying physics.
Not like with Darth Maul.
Yeah. Although a lot of that stuff, Ray Park could actually do that because he's a stuntman.
Yes.
That was not a lot of faking. He is fantastic. But I that's the thing I did enjoy as far as choreography goes.
Well, on the Darth Maul point, Darth Maul as a character is far more agile than Darth Vader would ever be.
Right.
So Obi-Wan would have to change his fighting style because it's not going to be the same fight.
Right.
You're not going to do the same, swings that you would do with somebody who's going to corkscrew kick you in the head.
Yeah. But I said I enjoyed that. Toned down lightsaber fights I actually like.
Yeah.
Especially as a person who does sword fighting. For people who don't know me, I'm a practitioner of kendo, which is the Japanese version of fencing. And I noticed a lot of those type of techniques in this. We do a very solid block like that, pull it to your shoulder and then go. And I saw a lot of that choreography in there. And so I personally enjoyed that very much.
And Star Wars goes back to kung fu movies and stuff. Right?
Oh, absolutely. They're all from the I believe the inspiration for
I'm being clearly racist and saying all of Asia is the same, but
no, it's if I am
Darth Vader's helmet is clearly a samurai. Oh.
It's totally a kabuto. Yes. And I'm believing that A New Hope is actually modeled after an Akira Kurosawa movie called The Hidden Fortress, which is a samurai movie.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
And apparently, the star of those movies, Toshiro Mifune, was actually the first pick to be Obi-Wan.
Hmm.
It was supposed to be like a straight up samurai guy.
Karate Kid. Little Ralph Macchio with a lightsaber.
Can't unsee.
We just changed all of Karate Kid.
It's actually just Star Wars minus the stuff.
Yeah. Force on, force off.
Oh, okay. Like the next season of Cobra Kai.
Again, that's not how the Force works.
The next season of Cobra Kai is going to be very difficult now. Okay. Well, I think we covered a lot there.
Yeah.
This really showing that, wow, we are big Star Wars nerds. Like,
it's not something I've ever hidden.
No. But so thank you, Rob, for one, agreeing to let me use your place. I think I'm okay to use this place in the future too, even if it's not you. You're the best.
I mean, I'll be here.
Oh, totally.
Because otherwise, that's weird.
You're good energy. You're good energy to have around.
I'll just sit in the back making comments at you.
Whatever. Yeah. Like, and not even comments, just like catty looks.
No, I'll make comments.
Okay. I'll go for some off-camera comments. I'm totally cool.
There we go.
I'm totally.
Well, just give me a microphone. I'll sit behind the camera and make comments.
You'll be like the producer who like doesn't speak all the time, but is totally allowed to chime in.
Right.
I definitely will give you that role. All right. And okay.
What do you want to talk about next?
Oh my goodness, I don't know. We're gonna wrap up the podcast part, but we can chill for a while still.
No, I meant for the next one.
Oh, well, we'll have to find. I'm gonna try and find like kind of new stuff to watch. It's kind of gonna be by reason to watch new movies.
I would say, well, I've seen the new Top Gun and the new Jurassic Park.
I definitely still need to
catch up.
I need to see Top Gun. I will definitely like try and fit Top Gun in maybe this weekend if it's still playing. And yeah,
just never a Marvel movie, and I'm in.
Just not a Marvel movie,
unless it's Spider-Man.
Okay. I totally relate to you there because I got so burned out on Marvel movies. I'm only
just because there's 3 a year,
right? And I'm sort of catching up now. I've watched Loki and Black Widow finally.
Well, if it makes you feel better, when I watched Captain America: The First Avenger, I fell asleep.
Wow.
When I watched Thor, I fell asleep.
Wow.
In the theater, just so we're on the same page.
That would be atmosphere though. Like you maybe like.
They were not good. Maybe
like popcorn and, over iced Diet Coke is your Insomniacs thing. No.
It's definitely not.
Okay.
It's not. No.
All right. So I will try and get on Top Gun for you then.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do that one.
I liked the new one. I didn't like the old one. No.
Interesting. Well, we'll keep that. We can talk about that once I see the new one.
I had to watch the first one before I watched the second one, so I understood the story.
Right.
And I didn't need to.
Oh,
the second one told a good enough story.
Oh, I'm sure. Okay. All right. So, Rob, you're going to be a regular. People are going to be getting to know you. But since it's the first time out, let them. Where can they find you? Because if you guys need a fantastic portrait photographer, like we didn't talk about that at all because we were talking Star Wars. Rob Deak here is a fantastic portrait photographer. You need to hire him. Period.
Sure.
Oh, dude, do I need to I'm trying to pump you up here, man.
No.
Okay. He's fantastic. You need to hire him.
No.
All right. That's robertjdeak.com to find his work.
It's not though.
No? What is it? Did you change it?
I did. Actually, I think robertjdeak.com still works.
Okay.
It will direct you.
Okay.
But it expires in like a week.
Okay.
So depending on how quick you get this out.
We'll see. Where's the new one?
robertdeakphoto.com.
robertdeakphoto.com. Yes.
That's all of my socials too.
Good. Go there. See his stuff.
It's universal.
Hire him.
It was easier that way.
Awesome. All right. And so thanks again, Rob, for everything. You light up my life.
Sure.
All right. He's very stoic. He doesn't.
Yeah. Stoic.
Not a lot on the genuine emotion return.
No.
Okay. All right. So thank you everybody who tuned in and watched. I'm gonna try and like put this like on audio only and on YouTube. So subscribe on those places. Let us know how you liked it. I'm sure because this is Star Wars, there's gonna be a bit of vitriol coming in, but if you do that, we win. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Comment. Tell me all your nasty thoughts. I dare you. I will fight you and get our ratings up.
You can find me pretty much everywhere as Josh T Film, no S. That's a weird thing I have to keep pointing out. Josh T Film, joshtfilm.com, and on the socials that I barely maintain because I don't think that's where creativity happens.
That's where creativity die.
It really does. But that's where you can find me if you're trying to reach out to me about projects or anything like that. Thank you so much for listening to this first episode. And I'm going to use